Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. So with Godzilla vs. Kong having to now officially be released, at least overseas in places like India and China, we now have additional information along with footage and screenshots as to what is to be expected in the upcoming movie. And for those that haven't seen my previous videos, we went in depth by discussing the overall premise of MechaGodzilla vs. Godzilla, and now we're going to be discussing the overall narrative moving forward after this movie is over and done with, beginning with Kong vs. Nozuki, aka the WARBAT. Now, what's established in this movie, and by the way, if you guys have a Fire Stick or if you guys have the cinema app or anything that can allow you to watch movies, the movie is literally out overseas right now, and we're going to be getting it roughly around next week. So, after seeing the WARBAT having to battle against Kong, it was very interesting to see and note how the other Titans weren't really referenced as much. At least in the beginning, it was suggested that all of the other Titans have in fact been defeated. Now, what does this mean for the MonsterVerse? It ultimately means that it could end up stopping here in terms of having Godzilla go his way and Kong go back to the Hollow Earth, but the battle between Kong and the WARBAT, as of course you guys can see on screen, was good, but at the same time, it pales in comparison to what we get from MechaGodzilla and Godzilla. So, in case you're wondering if the WARBAT fight with Kong is good, it's actually really fun. It's nothing like the Skullcrawler versus MechaGodzilla because it infuriates me at the overall idea that they were kind of teasing this alpha mega Skullcrawler to make an appearance in this movie, and it did, but it ultimately got terminated by MechaGodzilla within the testing chambers to see if MechaGodzilla can actually operate to a well enough function, in which it did, but the Skullcrawler did absolutely nothing, and this was a much bigger Skullcrawler than what we've seen go down in Kong Skull Island. So the battle between Kong and Nozuki was good only because Nozuki had the upper hand. There was a momentary sequence where towards the end of their fight, Nozuki wrapped itself around Kong and it was constricting Kong to the point where Kong really wasn't able to fight back. Nozuki went along to cover Kong's face with its wing, and it almost looked as though it was constricting Kong, but at the same time, it was also trying to suffocate him. So if anybody has ever seen the movie Jeepers Creepers, where the creeper had wrapped its wing around its victims to suffocate them and basically, off them, that's what almost happened here, until the humans intervened by using the Hollow Earth anti-gravity vehicles to shoot a bunch of missiles at Nozuki and basically getting it to react quick enough for Kong to get the upper hand, and he did. So the premise and geyser of what Kong is doing here is obviously trying to go retrieve the battle axe of his ancestors to fight against Godzilla, but the monsters that we do see in the Hollow Earth are definitely cool and really fun to see, and it kind of opens up your mind to ask questions such as, where do we go from here? Is it possible that we could get more monsters as this universe continues to basically develop and grow into its own? Is Kong somehow going to go back into the Hollow Earth and encounter another Godzilla-like enemy, or at least a enemy that's kind of on par when it comes down to Godzilla's sheer size and power? We don't really know that, but the fight with Nozuki's good, but don't expect anything that's dragged out or anything that kind of comes remotely close to the Godzilla fight, because you're not going to get any of that. Now, before we jump into the MechaGodzilla stuff, a quick little reminder that Adam Wingard, the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, went on to actually post the giant MechaGodzilla figure on his Instagram page for hundreds of thousands of people to see. So if you're going to be crying in the comment section about spoilers, you're either incredibly dumb because the cat's been out of the bag since 2019 involving MechaGodzilla, or you're just blatantly ignorant at the overall idea and premise of what this movie is all about, which is monsters fighting, right? So, as of course you guys can see, there was the obvious moment where Kong went in to save Godzilla, and he saved him just in the nick of time. I would say due to plot convenience, right? Plot shielding and protecting both monsters. Some of you guys might be wondering, well, who wins by the end of this movie, right? Well, it's safe to say that Godzilla did get the upper hand on Kong. However, as soon as MechaGodzilla busts out, he fights Godzilla first, and Godzilla gets whooped. And if it were not for Kong, honestly speaking, Godzilla would have been dead. He would have been destroyed. MechaGodzilla was shown hammering him down, so much so, I think you guys are really going to like MechaGodzilla. I would say more than Rodan, more than Mothra, more than King Ghidorah from King of the Monsters, because the way MechaGodzilla operates was really fun to watch. It was really cool to see the way he just destroyed the entire city, the way he was fighting against Godzilla. He was really cool. I really liked this vision of what Legendary interpreted MechaGodzilla to be, and Kong is shown leaping on up and getting on MechaGodzilla's back to prevent him from blasting the atomic breath down on Godzilla, actually into his mouth, very similar to what Godzilla had done to the Muto in Godzilla 2014. And I will say, as of course you guys can see on screen, the way Kong operates in this movie, you actually go to root for him. Towards the end, you start rooting for both Godzilla and Kong, and that's a good thing. I felt as though the directors really, and the producers and the people behind this film, really made you care about these monsters versus just throwing them in there and just allowing them to be mindless monsters with no appreciation behind what they are and what they fight for. In this case, Godzilla's fighting to destroy MechaGodzilla. So in terms of what's going to happen going forward, there are lots of rumors suggesting that there was no post-credit scene. For those that have watched the movie, I want you guys to comment down below and tell me, along with everybody else, if there was a post-credit scene or if there wasn't a post-credit scene, because after watching portions of this movie online, it makes you want more. It really makes you crave more from this universe, because it gradually goes up from Godzilla 2014 to Godzilla King of the Monsters to now Godzilla vs. Kong. They could ultimately go and tap into any era, I think, from the Toho universe, whether that be from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and they can expand on that by having to recreate and shed more light on their visions on said characters and said stories, but it's ultimately up to Toho and Legendary to see what they end up doing going forward after this movie is essentially over and done with. Which I think, based on what a lot of you guys had said, I think this is the most destructive MechaGodzilla that we've seen, I think, ever, because we've seen MechaGodzilla be showcased when Toho had introduced Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla many years ago, and although those fights were nostalgic and very fun to watch, this is a little different. I would say this is the most evil version of MechaGodzilla that we've ever seen before. He's very destructive, and watching MechaGodzilla fight Godzilla in Hong Kong was like watching one of the old school WWF Attitude Era matches with like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, or Stone Cold versus Triple H, or Stone Cold versus The Undertaker. It was mayhem. So I think you guys are really going to grow and have a huge appreciation for this, which I think a lot of you guys should also go back and watch some of the original movies too, just to kind of go and see where this all started from. So I think that this may be it, but I'm really hoping that it's not, only because the universe expands with the Hollow Earth, and there being monsters and creatures and all sorts of things that are lying down there as well, but at the same time, it's a little ambiguous to suggest that a lot of the monsters that are currently on the surface are even still alive to begin with. I really do hope that's the case, because we've seen the introduction of new monsters that we've never seen before, and I believe that the novelization for this is going to illustrate more, but at the same token, I think that there is that chance that this could be over, but at the same time, we're gonna have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you just so happen to have watched the fights involving MechaGodzilla vs. Godzilla, and specifically Kong versus the Warbats down in the Hollow Earth. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your time. If you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, give this video a big fat thumbs up by slapping that like button down below if you guys are simply stoked, ready, and excited to see this movie when it's officially released, which, I mean, for the rest of us, we're gonna have to wait, but it's officially out overseas. So again, thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate you guys so much. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody, and take care. Peace.